Yo, what's up? It's the Fantasy NBA today. Rick Kamla, the legendary Aaron Bruski. Dude, it's a great time of year, man. Final Four, baseball's being played. And hey, it's the final week. This is, if leagues are doing it the right way, this is the week when championships should be determined, Brew. And we're here, championship week.
Yeah, I mean, I spent like literally all of Saturday, all of Sunday glued to spreadsheets and Sports Ethos website, Twitter, you name it, watching games. I mean, some of these games this weekend, I mean, yeah, there's a lot of tanking going on, but some of these games, that Detroit Pistons game, the Pistons in general have me jacked, like really jacked, because there's a huge bet on the line for JB Bickerstaff to win Coach of the Year. Those odds swung hard over the weekend. It was like minus 1,000 for Kenny Atkinson, and then it went down to like minus 250. And now JBB, instead of plus 850, he's now like plus 250 as well in that ballpark. I haven't checked it this morning. Now, he did get ejected in that game over the yesterday, so I don't know if the voters will hold that against him. Had they won, I'm sure it was a great move, but they lost because it was on the road, and that was hilarious. That little tiff in the stands, it's like the basketball is getting more intense, and I'm getting fired up. But yeah, great weekend, great fantasy basketball weekend, just nerding out. Told the family, I was like, you guys stay away. I need to nerd out, and here we are.
Can I give you a quick little story, Brew?
Sure.
So I won a cash league, and I'm super happy about it, and I'm really superstitious. Okay. So it came down to yesterday, right? And I was moving, cleaning, the house that we're selling it out. So I was busy as heck. But I'm like, and then I came home and wrote the waiver wire article that's going to be on sportsethos.com here soon. And so busy, right? And I said, I'm not going to score check. And I didn't. And so at end of the night, I hit send Andre Lemouche the article. Okay, now's my time to check the score. I go to Yahoo and it says 4-5. And I'm like, oh, I lost. And then it refreshed. And it said 5-4. And I won. And it's a cash league. I will reiterate. I hope the IRS is not listening. But I have to tell you this. Okay. So I had a decision. First of all, Ja Morant came back. Okay. Literally, let me check the final score. I think literally him getting Taylor Jenkins whacked and ending his boycott and coming back and playing. Because I won by 3 threes. I won by 16 assists. And so it was very, very close. I lost points by 4, but won 5-4. So Ja Morant comes back. That was helpful. But honestly, the move that did it, Brew. So I'm on Saturday, and I'm looking at the guys with 2 games on Saturday and Sunday, right? Sixers and Spurs. And I'm looking at Julian Champagnie, who I'm not really high on right now. It's 20-something minutes with San Antonio, weird fluctuations. I'm looking at Yabusele, top added guy that day, right? But I'm worried about not playing in both the games. And I'm looking at Adem Bona, okay? But he's coming out of like a bench role and still behind Yabusele. So tough decision, right? But I'm taking one of these guys to one move left. I want 2 games. I pick up Julian Champagnie. Julian Champagnie on Saturday against Boston had the worst game in NBA history. Tony Snell was laughing at him. I think he had 1 rebound and 1 assist, Brew. I'm telling you, he had like no points, no threes, no nothing, right? It was like a bagel. I'm like, oh my God, Julian Champagnie, and that decision just cost me this chip. Sunday goes on. I don't watch any of the action, okay? Like I said, I just removed myself out of superstition. I mean, I box scores and highlights I did after the fact. Don't get me wrong. And Julian Champagnie yesterday, Brew, 3 threes, 11 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 block. The typical Julian Champagnie game, right? Okay, so I win threes by 3. He had 3 threes. So Julian Champagnie ended up riding in on a white horse to save the day for me, and got that chip. So these are the stories we tell. So often, Doc's like, oh, I lost my 18-leg parlay by a half a point, right? And we've got to – but dang it, let's tell some of the good stories too, dude. The Ja Morant serendipity, Julian Champagnie sucking and then just being normal and me winning a chip on it. How cool is that?
It is really cool. And in my neck of the woods, I'm a roto guy. So like we go to the last day of the season and I was emailing back and forth. There's 2 guys that I play with that are constantly at the top. And I mean, one of them's kind of like my nemesis, and the other is a guy that I met through my nemesis. And we just battle every single year. And I looked at the top of the ranks in the main event over at the NFBKC, and there we are at the top. It's the three of us with the top 6 of 7 spots, and we're all gunning for the guy who's got like 4 dudes on his team that are not healthy anymore. And we're just like, okay, so one of us is going to win this thing, and it's just a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun, and I'm like you. Sometimes I'll only remember the beats, and I don't take time to remember, all of the great wins. But that's what we're all about here is pushing into these, high leverage situations, and it really is just funny. You go all season long, you go 8 months, 9 months, and it's going to come down to 2 weekends from now. And I'm going to be sitting there on Saturday, like glued to my phone, even though it's hurting my hand with the thoracic outlet syndrome. I'll be glued to that thing. And on Sunday, I'll probably be at a park with my kid, and he's going to be jumping off of something way too tall. And they're going to be looking at me like, oh, look at that dad. He's just stuck in his phone. What a bad dad. And then it'll be all good. It'll be all good. But it's going to be stressful. It's going to be stressful, and we love it. And I love it. And I can tell you anything about the NBA right now. I literally have done more studying in the last 2 days than it feels like in the last 2 weeks.
I love it, man. So
let's do it.
So let's tap into that wisdom, man. I want to first tell you about our awesome sponsor, BetOnline. BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for betting on all the madness, which is still ongoing. Even if your bracket is busted, don't worry about it. They've got live betting on every remaining tournament game. The Final Four coming up, the women's Final Four. I mean, it's a great time to bet on hoops for sure. With the largest selection of odds on everything from college basketball to Major League Baseball, the NHL, and MMA, BetOnline continues to be your number one sports betting source. From every Cinderella story to every hat trick, BetOnline has you covered with odds, stats, and more for every game, every play, and every win. BetOnline, the game starts here. Before we dive into our must-add pickups from the weekend, Brew, let's talk about the Daniel Gafford news. He has been upgraded to probable for this game here tonight that the Mavericks play, and it is the Mavs hosting the Brooklyn Nets. Stop laughing. And Daniel Gafford, probable. He's been out. Let me read the goodies on him. He's been out with this MCL situation. February 10th is the last time he played. So we're at about, 7 weeks out from that. But it's a 4-game week for Dallas, Brew. You and I were debating. I picked up Buzelis this morning, and I'm in a league where I need to make another move as well because I got a guy I got Kevin Porter Jr. and I don't trust the minutes. I want to get off of him and maybe get into Gafford. I still may make this move. I need you to convince me that now is the time to make the move for Daniel Gafford because I'm getting cold feet. I worry about easing back into action and all that kind of stuff. Talk to me.
Yeah, so this Gafford thing is really super interesting. I mean, I've been worried about his knee for like 3 years. Went huge on Gafford. Don't know if you guys have the remember the Hoop Ball 6. It would basically condense the B150 into 6 players after the season started, and then everybody started asking for that thing before the season started. And I was like, I don't know if I could do that. That's like almost like handing it away to the competition, but we're that was in the past. Anyway, Gafford was part of the Hoop Ball 6, and then he had this stinker of a season. It was in Chicago. And then we followed him over to Washington. And, the stinker was in Washington. We followed him over to Washington. He can't actually drag his leg up and down the court. And it's like, oh, man, Gafford, he could be good if not for that knee. And then he started having a great season in Washington, gets traded to Dallas and doing all the Gafford things that we knew and loved. And here comes that knee again. And this was a grade 3 MCL sprain. And the timetable on this thing was at minimum 8 weeks. And I think you just said 7 weeks. So all of this news of Gafford coming back, Gafford now probable to play. I'm going, oh, crap, he's coming back too early. He's doing that, team first thing. And he's playing for his guys. And he's going to get out there. He's going to hurt it again. But at any rate, he's back. And the good news with Gafford is that he can do damage in 18 minutes a game. Maybe that will be the plan here for the next couple of games here. They've got Kai Jones, who is doing everything humanly possible to earn a contract at the NBA level. Kai Jones needs to be signed by the end of the year in order to be playoff eligible. They also have Brandon Williams, who's in that same boat. Which one do they feel like they need to sign and get in there for their playoff rotation is kind of the question here. You set that against, you have Derek Lively, you have Anthony Davis, you have 4 bigs for 2 slots right now. Theoretically, maybe you get weird and play a super big lineup for like 5 minutes in a game, but really it's 4 guys for the 2 slots, and they have a bunch of need to rotate. They're going to take games off in the middle of this thing, and how many games are left? 8 games are left, I believe, for these guys. There's going to be a couple back-to-backs in there, at least one I know of, and that's going to be the time that 2 of them take the night off, or one of them take the night off. I think you're going to see low minutes for the next week. I would think like 18 a game for Gafford. I would think if Lively gets back on the floor, he gets 18 in that ballpark, right off the bat. Anthony Davis is going to get his 30, and then Kai Jones is going to get all the rest. And I think it'll be good for Kai Jones here this next week. But then after that, it's going to be rough.
Pardon me, Brew. So Derek, you mentioned Derek Lively, and it's like he's out for the year. We'll never see him again. He's questionable for tonight's game. Stress fracture in his ankle. Hasn't appeared in a game since January 14th. So we're going back. Is that 2.5 months? Late Jan, late Feb. That's 2.5 months. My goodness, that's a long absence, dude. But that to me, that's news. I don't know if Lively's going to play tonight, but he's questionable. He's back on the radar. And Brew, that also tells me that he's coming back. Like, it may be tonight, it may be the next game, maybe the game after that, but that tells me that Derek Lively is coming back. I must admit, we all hate the Luka trade, right? But I do like how Dallas is moving all their chips in the middle of the table and kind of going for whatever they can go for right now. I like that.
They got together and decided to do it. And this team has been gelling over the last couple of weeks without their guys. And now you're going to bring in, and almost in like in an orderly fashion, like Anthony Davis comes back. There's no real kind of, change to things. It's just hey, we got a good player, a great player. And, we absolutely need him back. And not a lot of things are moving around. Najee Marshall still continues to be assertive with his offense, and now this next iteration, though, it's gonna get crowded. You got PJ Washington, Najee Marshall, and then the bigs, and now you've expanded that to 3 positions. So I think they'll be good, and they'll be fun to watch in the playoffs because a team with that much size and players that have some spunk around around the entire roster. I think they'll at least be an interesting out. As far as the fantasy side, though, goes, with Lively coming at some point in time this week, according to Mark Stein, we know that piece will come in and it'll probably cost the rotation about 24 minutes. I think until that happens, you could keep running Kai Jones out there because I do think that they want to see what they have in this guy. He's super springy and athletic. And maybe when they're at full strength, he's not a necessary piece in the rotation. Maybe in a playoff scenario, he's not somebody you trust. But I think that they've got enough reason to use him right now this week to keep the other guys healthy while also checking to see, can this guy actually fit in during a playoff run? So I think it's good this week for Kai Jones. It might be the case that I'm completely wrong on that and he gets bounced out of the rotation. But, what did he have? 4 blocks and 2 steals in the last game?
Yep.
You can't not take a chance on that.
All right, here's where I'm at with Kai Jones. I kind of in these leagues, Brew, where I have Kai Jones in the Cam Dynasty, and we get 8 moves, right? But I'm going against it's hyper competitive, and we will use all 8 of those moves, me and my opponent. Okay, so I still want to be judicious. In Yahoo leagues with 4 pickups, it becomes even more so. I rock with guys on like the news, or tonight's a Monday, right? So first game of the week, Kai Jones plays tonight. So I'm not going to cut him and lose the man game to pick up a Dembona right now. And Bona has a 3-game week for Philly, right? Who would I rather have the rest of the season? A Dembona for sure. Okay. But that's the game I play. I'm not going to just boot a man game. Kai Jones may play 18 minutes and have a double-double tonight. And I'm like, dang it, I shouldn't have dropped him, right? So I'm going to take that man game from Kai Jones. But I'm probably only rostering Kai Jones for this one more game. I want to see how it looks tonight with him and Gafford. Lively may come back tonight, may come back for the next game. So I'm ready to pounce and say goodbye to Kai Jones. But because he's got a game tonight, because there's all this uncertainty going in, I'm going to rock with him tonight. And I'm preparing for it to be his last gig on my watch, but that's kind of where I'm at with Kai Jones.
And let me make it clear, I don't think he's a must roster player, or must hold, I should say, player for Kai Jones. Like there is a great chance that he's getting booted from the rotation to some degree. Maybe he's only at 12 or 14 minutes a game. Maybe it's not enough for him to actually pop. There's absolutely that. Daniel Gafford, any of these guys, Lively, they might be every other game the rest of the way. If you're taking them, it's a gamble that they actually can stay on a ramp and ramp those minutes up. Like a win for Gafford would be 18 minutes a game the rest of the way. And what we've seen with him in 18 minutes a game is he can have some value. He can get you some blocks, some boards, some decent points on a given night. The field goal percentage might be something of interest. And a lot of folks that are still playing right now, I'd say the split is almost more roto than head to head at this point in time. Because a lot of leagues are ending earlier and earlier in the year. So these guys are not must roster players at this time of year, and a lot of guys aren't must roster players at this time of the year.
I want to make a quick joke. The fundamental difference between you and I, well, there's two of them. I'm a head-to-head guy. You're a roto guy. And then there's the other one where you're more into the percentages. I'm a counting numbers guy. Literally don't care at all about the percentages. They all come out in the wash and give me the counting numbers. And so that's just my method. In that game that I won, Brew, okay, I lost both defensive categories, which is rare. I mean, obviously, but I got 55 to 44 in steals, 31 to 28 in blocks, lost them both. I mean, that's an L for me, Brew. If I'm losing both these stats, that's an L for me usually. I also lost points by 4. So these are cats where I won field goal percentage and I won free throw percentage. And that got me the championship. Didn't even try.
Percentages matter.
Didn't even try. So, but see, that's so funny. You say percentages matter. And I say,
because you didn't care. Right.
The construct of my team never once considered percentages, yet I won both of the percentages in championship week and it won me the week. It's so weird. It's cool how different we are that way.
And where we meet in the middle is the cash counting stats, is the threes, the steals, and the blocks. Like
Keon Ellis.
That's everything. For
Keon
me,
Ellis,
okay, percentages are obviously a big part of my strategy in roto leagues. They have to be. I know people that punt this stuff. Hey, like the last 5 years, the guys at the top of this thing, they've been trying these weird exotic punt strategies where they're going to purposely take the one and field or free throw or whatever they've decided in a given day. And every now and then there's somebody that will win that way. It's probably happened like twice, I want to say, in maybe 10 years of doing this. And they can correct me if I'm wrong on that. They're just trying to, they think they can game the system and they figure they've got to take a risk to win this kind of a league. And yeah, but
I'm that guy. That's what I do in baseball. I'm that guy, Brew. I want to take that risk. But
only twice in 10 years, I think, has the punt strategy worked out. And it's fascinating to watch. It's like taking all the athletes that can't hit a free throw and putting them on a team. But you gotta win everything else, because if you don't, that one's gonna drag you down.
So Andre, Brew, anybody, please invite me to some roto leagues next year.
You got to.
I don't know how to get into them. I don't even know if Yahoo has roto leagues. Does Yahoo have roto leagues?
We've got roto leagues at Sports Ethos. We'll get you into one of these no matter what. I'm going to play some more Ethos leagues. I need to just get into more leagues. But it's just such a nothing wrong with head-to-head leagues. Roto, I mean, it's just like it's like a long movie that you really, really like. And you're just like, it's got several chapters, subplots, it's some things happen throughout the season. Almost all of my teams are in the top 6 in the NFBKC. And at the beginning of the season, they were struggling so bad. I mean, this has been a saga to get these teams to rise up in the ranks. And you look at the end of this thing and it just feels like I've like aged 500 years, but it's been the best 500 years of a life you could have, watching this weird basketball puzzle just work itself out. So it's great stuff. Roto, you got to check it out.
So let's transition into must-add players from the weekend. And Adem Bona, we got to start with him, okay? I mean, he literally won championships. I should have picked him up when I picked up Julian Champagny, but I might have lost threes because Bona doesn't hit threes. I might have lost threes and lost the week. Strangely, that worked out for me. But Adem Bona, Brew, in these 2 games, okay, 30 minutes, 16 and 10, 3 blocks, 1 steal, 1 dime. Then 27 minutes, 14 and 8, 5 blocks, 1 steal. 2 games, 2 days, 8 blocks. Okay. And the minutes are up. And it's a 3-game week for Philadelphia. But here's what I want to position, Brew. I want to position Daniel Gafford versus Adem Bona. I have this decision right now in a championship game of a cash league. Literally presented right now, and I want to make this decision before the end of the day. I'm leaning to picking up Bona with the 3 games because I feel like Gafford's only going to get 3 games. Do you think Gafford's going to play both of the back-to-back this weekend? I don't. And you were just talking about 18 minutes a game for Gafford. I loved your point that Gafford can still double-double with 4 blocks in 18 minutes. An outstanding point. Absolutely true. But I know I'm going to be around 30 minutes with Bona. He's already clicking a double-double with 4 blocks. So I'm leaning that way unless you and or Andre and or our people can talk me out of it.
I can't because he's been a top 24 guy over the last couple of weeks. You know, this is a second round value for this guy, averaging 3 blocks and a steal. I mean, 10.5 points, 8 boards in 24 minutes a game. He's going to get more minutes than Gafford this week in his three games. I think.
Do you agree that Gafford's probably not playing in that back-to-back?
Oh yeah. I mean, it would be shocking. He's already early on his timeline. I cannot imagine them just trotting him out there every single night. Gafford's got amazing per minute pop. I mean, Gafford, when he was going this season, when he was the last man standing, was a first round value. So, I mean, it's no slight to him to say that he can't beat Adem Bona right now in a fantasy competition. But Bona is locked and loaded. There's no 2-way contract thing going on here. He's ready to play the rest of the season. I don't think he's going to impact winning so much that they don't want him on the floor. They don't have any other bigs there other than Gershon Yabusele, and I don't know that they're going to want him playing in every single game the rest of the way. It's possible that Bona averages 30 minutes per game the rest of the way and is a first-round value in fantasy leagues the rest of the way. We picked him up in, like our pickup recommendations there were about 2 to 3 weeks ago, and he's on like every single one of my teams. It is glorious, and I think he shouldn't be available out there, but if he is, go grab him.
24% rostered in Yahoo leagues. And I'm not going to bellyache about that because he's new to the scene and we're down to 2 teams left, or, the last week, maybe there was 4 teams left. So not as many people going after these pickups. But I believe he's the best pickup in fantasy basketball right now, Adem Bona, even with Gafford coming back. And Andre is saying, go get Bona. So maybe that's the move here. Give me some of your other must-add players from the weekend, Brew.
Okay, let's see here. The ones that caught thy eye. Let's go to, there's like an obvious mention for Scottie Pippen Jr. He's been a top 15 player over the last 9 games. We've been talking about him for a couple weeks. If you haven't had a chance to go get him, I don't care if Ja Morant plays or not. We don't know what the drama is there. Maybe there's a hard left that occurs here with the new coach. So that could be a thing that happens. You just can't take top 15 and just say, nah, we're not going to look at that. His stat line is exquisite, Scottie Pippen. But let's kind of look at like Kevin Porter Jr. He had the big game in this last one. If you look at overall numbers, say in the last 10 games or so, 20 minutes a game, he gets you points, 11.5 points, 1.5 triples, 4 boards, 3.4 assists. Elite free throw shooting lately, 94.4% with 3.3 attempts per game. That will move the needle for your team. I think that Milwaukee needs to figure out what they have with him because it ain't going to be Kyle Kuzma in the playoffs. Kyle Kuzma is not going to save them. Damian Lillard may or may not be back. I mean, the reports are positive, and who knows if he could come back or not. But with or without that, you need a third offensive engine there, somebody who can break the paint. Dame can barely break the paint. Giannis can break the paint, but he does it like a football player does. There's not like a finesse to it that's going to make the defense collapse. I mean, it's going to make the defense collapse for Giannis, but it's like like a bunch of kids trying to run after a ball or something. It's just like this hunk of humanity. This Kevin Porter Jr. Wrinkle, they're starting to explore it there in Milwaukee. And we know he's got pop. We know that there could be an efficiency issue shooting the ball. But I think this is worth looking into. It's the kind of stuff that silly season's made of as well. So Kevin Porter Jr., I don't know that I'm sitting here saying, hey, you got everybody drop what you're doing right now, go get Kevin Porter Jr. But he's one of the more interesting emerging assets out there in fantasy basketball right now. So give him a look. Elsewhere, we've talked about Kai Jones a little bit. He's been top 30 over the last 6 games, 11.5 points, 8 boards, 2 combined steals and blocks. Great percentages, 83.3% from the field. You're going to get a heavy field goal percentage boost there. As we discussed, probably the next week. I got more. Don't want to take all the airspace here, but I do have more.
I love that. So I want to talk about Jared Butler of the Sixers.
Oh yeah,
Brew. Loving Butler right now. It's only a 3-game week, but still, a lot of these 4-game weeks are fool's gold because of rest and stuff like that, and tanking teams will even rest. Like Vucevic, for example. When it's the second of a back-to-back, his minutes go bloop. Like they may not go to 0, but they drop significantly. It's like a soft rest game or something, right? So even with these young cats, Butler, last 3 games, 15, 6 dimes, 2 steals, 3 threes. I'll just give you the threes and the steals. Threes, 3, 4, 4, 3. And that's since the minutes really went up. And he is on like a 10-game consecutive steal run here, Brew, with multiple steals in a lot of games. He's at 20 dimes over his last 3 games, which is basically 7 a game. I freaking love Jared Butler. And we don't have to worry about the contract thing, okay? Hood Schifino's on the 2-way. And who's
Doughton.
The other cat? Doughton is on a 2-way. We don't have to worry about that with Butler. So I'm all like, I've got Butler like you. I've got him on virtually every one of my teams.
It's hard to find guys averaging 5 assists a game on the wire. Like over his last 8 games, Butler, 5 assists a game. So, and I think he's ready to pop.
Agreed. I like Jamal Shed too. There's some attractive, and these guys may or may not be on waivers in your leagues, right? But Jamal Shed, he's playing well even in the Quickly games. And then when Quickly is out, Shed is really spiking. And he's got a stat set that, Brewline, that really is similar to Jared Butler. Very good steal guy. Jamal Shed steals 3, 2, 3, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 3. So he's on a steal streak too. He's also on a 3-ball, like 10 of the last 11. He's got at least 1 3. You get the point. And Shed is on Toronto. I've got this written down. Toronto has 4, I believe. They do. So I would say maybe 2 of those 4 games, Brew, are Shed games, and Quickly might play in the other 2 of those. But I'm really into Jamal Shed right now, too.
Look, Toronto's crazy right now. I mean, you got players all over the place that are popping, and it's not something that strikes you as a place where that would happen with all of the in and out of the rotation. And you still got guys like Jakob Poeltl and Quickly in and out. RJ Barrett is he's in and out, and that's just a lot of gravity with the basketball. It's you would think this team would be crashing and burning, but Shed, Jacoby Walter, is making some noise out there, kind of inefficiently Jacoby Walter, but over his last 4 games, 12.3 points, 2.3 triples, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 1.3 steals. That's workable. You could do something with that. Orlando Robinson had a big game the other night. A little inefficient for him, but very poppy. Mobo out there getting you triple ones and getting some consistent playing time. And these are names that are just virtually available in like every single league. So there's no excuse for not having a productive player in your lineup at this time of year, because you could just go out and probably get all 4 of those guys if you wanted to. I would think late round value expectations for each of them. But I mean, I like Shed a lot. He's got some quickness to him. And I think we'll be looking at his, profile in games here for the next couple seasons at least.
I like it, Brew. There's another point guard out there, Ryan Rollins of Milwaukee. If personally for me, if presented with a Ryan Rollins or Kevin Porter Jr. scenario, I'm going with Rollins because he's starting. And let's have a conversation about Kevin Porter Jr. Again, I'm not trying to make this about my team. It's just, I think, kind of a fun fantasy story. So Dude, I was dead in Robert's Rad League. It's a cash league, Brew. I was dead. Okay. I think 3-6 going into Sunday, right? And I didn't have games. And frankly, my team is weird because of injuries. Like, I just don't like this team. And somehow I won. I'm in the championship game this week. And I'll tell you the somehow I won. There's an answer to that question. His name is Kevin Porter Jr. Okay. And Brew, if Atlanta does not destroy Milwaukee yesterday, Kevin Porter Jr. probably plays 13 minutes because that's what Doc Rivers does, and that's how he does them. But because Atlanta won that game 145-124, Kevin Porter got 23 minutes and had 28 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists, a steal, and 3 threes, and a gigantic middle finger salute to Doc Rivers saying, what more do I need to do? Okay, so I win that game last week, Brew. Let me tell you. So remember, 28, whatever. I won by 2 threes. I won by 7 points, and I won by 3 assists. The reason I won that game, Brew, was Kevin Porter Jr. and Atlanta kicking Milwaukee's ass.
And here you are thanking him by taking Ryan Rollins over him.
That's right.
That's here. It's a very cold business. This
cutthroat, baby.
It is cutthroat, but I mean, Ryan Rollins just rolling along, giving you kind of late roundish value, getting minutes. It's the same story. It's just a different flavor of ice cream. Like,
good
somebody's
point.
going to step up into the vacuum here. And is it Kevin Porter after a big night? I don't know. Doc Rivers is he's that guy. We don't always trust Doc Rivers around here. But it's there. I mean, it's there for them. They've got to in Milwaukee. I mean, look, this party's going to end, right? Giannis is going to go somewhere else. Where do we think Giannis is going this upcoming season? I don't know. Dame's going to go do whatever Dame's going to go want to do. Like, Milwaukee's done with this iteration. It's over. I mean, it's not like locked in stone. But
they're backing up the wrecking ball to the facility.
Absolutely. So, like, you got to try something different to make. I mean, what if they make it to the conference finals? Right? Maybe that changes some minds. Maybe the math doesn't work out in some location. Maybe the Luka trade changed the landscape. Maybe Luka to LA keeps one big location off the board for Giannis. You know, maybe, just maybe, you keep your superstar in Milwaukee. You got to do something special, though. You can't have like a first round exit where you're like the 6th seed or something, and you just get iced out of the playoffs in the first round. So you got to try something different. That said, Doc Rivers is not exactly the poster child for trying something different.
Well, they're going bye-bye because the 3-6 right now would be the New York Knicks and the Milwaukee Bucks. Brunson's going to be back, and that's bye-bye Buckage.
Yeah, Brunson might be back like in this next game, by the way. I don't have any news on that, but I think that dude might surprise everybody and just start suiting up again.
I'm not trying to steal your thunder from a great take. I had that thought when I read over the weekend he's been cleared for basketball activities. I was
he's been running and cutting and all of the things. Yeah. We're talking Tibbs and we're talking Brunson.
He's my boy. He's your boy. Like, you could throw Jalen Brunson off the back of a pickup truck going 55 miles an hour. He's going to be like, where's the game, yo? Tough as they come. So this guy is probably out there. He's like, I feel good. I want to play tonight. So I agree with you. I think Brunson may come back sooner rather than later. I just have one more guy here on the must-add pickups, and I already picked him up in a Cash League championship round this morning. His name is Matas Buzelis, Brew. I don't love Buzelis. I don't love this pickup right now, but Kevin Huerter is out tonight. I believe that's a rest game for Huerter. Please tell me if you have a theory otherwise. He's got a right thumb. He's not shot well in 2 of the last 3 games. And I think Donovan's just giving him a night off. So I'm not dropping Huerter yet because it'll be 3 games for Chicago and him after that. But Matas Buzelis, Saturday against Dallas, 28, 9, and 6, a block, 5 threes. Game before that, 12 and 7, 2 threes. Game before that, 10 and 4, 2 blocks, 2 threes. Game before that, 31, another pop game with a steal and 5 threes. The minutes have been 30, 24, 25, 38. That might be the most, and that's not even really that consistent, but that may be the most voluminous and consistently voluminous 4-game run of minutes that Billy D's given him all year. So it's 4-game week for Chicago. I'm going there. I'm on the Buzelis train this week.
Oh, hell yeah. I mean, and if I was handicapping that, I would say that they gave him, Kevin Herter, the game off for knee recovery and did him a solid and said it was illness. So he doesn't appear to be so injured on the injury report. But elsewhere, I think that let's go to Phoenix because there's something cooking there. You know, we got this MRI for KD, and I think that ended their season last night. So this ankle issue. Maybe I'm wrong. KD's a baller. He wants to play.
You're not.
This is the.
I think he's played his last game as a
Camel's back. Yeah, like this. He's been going out there and kind of carrying this team all season long, being the front guy. You know, whatever's going on in Phoenix is whatever's going on in Phoenix. And so now take away Kevin Durant, and then your other injured guys like Grayson Allen. Okay, hey, you don't got to play through that anymore. Okay, maybe you take the rest of the time off. That leaves Tyus Jones, Ryan Dunn, Royce O'Neal, Osa Ighodaro. Like these are the guys you're going to want to kind of coalesce around, and it's really tough. Like Royce O'Neal's been Jekyll and Hyde really badly lately, and at the same time has the capability of putting up a big line. Ryan Dunn's the guy that's been getting minutes and probably needs to be pushed out there a little bit more for end of season awards consideration to try to make something look good in Phoenix. He's also been a tiny bit dinged up, but he's young. He's got young legs. He'll get through it. And then Tyus Jones is just sitting there kind of with like a halo around his head. This is a guy that had a top 40 stretch for about 2 months ago, and he's just as solid as they come. And so it's like Bradley Beal may or may not come back. He's been working hard to get back. But even if Bradley Beal gets back into the rotation, and let's say Kevin Durant's out, Bradley Beal could hurt himself, and then there's nothing to play for. And they say, all right, Bradley, it was great that you tried, but let's just let the young guys go, and we're just going to call it a season. And that's, again, where Tyus Jones, Ryan Dunn, Royce O'Neal, Osa Ighodaro, this crew, maybe throw Grayson Allen in there if you want. But if you take away KD's stats, heaven forbid you take away Devin Booker's stats, yeah, it'll be a bad basketball team, but Tyus Jones will be at the top of that list. Ryan Dunn will get you probably top 100 value in his sleep. Same thing with Royce O'Neal. So these are guys that in this final week might actually have a big week when the news from Kevin Durant's MRI comes back and says, you know what, we're going to go day to day, you know, and he'll be out for the rest of the season.
I cut Kevin Durant this morning for a move. I do not want to wait, and it's in a Yahoo league. I picked up I don't want to look. But I think I picked up Filipowski for him.
Oh, hell yeah.
Filipowski has a 4-game week, and Kessler has been ruled. I think Kessler's done for the year. I think Utah has shut him down. I don't like it, but that's what I think has happened here. And we know that Filipowski goes nuclear when Kessler is out. So get on Filipowski. He's above Bona, he's above Gafford, he's above Buzelis, and these point guards we're talking about, he's above all of them, okay? Go get him if he's on waivers. He's going to be flirting with 20 and 10 the rest of the year. Brew, are you ready to move on to Monday streamers here?
Sure. Yeah, let's do it.
All right, so just a couple of injury notes here. We agree on Durant that he's not going to play again this year, and he's played his last game as a Sun. Alfred Payton.
I won't throw that into concrete, but I mean, this is at this time of year, you got to make those kinds of cuts. Like it's tough. You don't have confirmation, and you might lose out on something big if he just says, "Oh, I'm playing." But an MRI, that's not good. An MRI is not good.
MRI equals week to week. Brew knows this.
And they slide that to day because of the time of the year and because of the importance of every game right now. But that loss, that thing sucked all the air out of the room.
Agreed. Kind of like Damon Milwaukee when he went out with the blood clots. Cam Johnson ruled out tonight with a back injury. That'll open up some minutes. Cole Anthony participated in shoot around. He's questionable instead of doubtful. So Anthony Black I'm going to draw a line through him. He was on my streamer list, but not anymore. Hardenstein is participating in shoot around. Josh Giddey participating in shoot around, and he's questionable. He says he'll play. Andrew Wiggins without a timetable to return, and Miami plays at Washington tonight. So start us off. Take us into some of your Monday streamers, Brew.
We'll take a quick pit stop in Sacramento. We don't need to talk about Keon too much. Huge game, terrible game. in the 1-2 combo over the week, and it averaged out to something very amazing. So he's a streamer if he was dropped. I think the Benedict Mathurin absence in Indy is opening up streamer potential. And like, for example, Aaron Neesmith should be rostered in most, if not all leagues. But like Nemhard, Toppin. And actually, I was almost going to put TJ McConnell in my top ads there, mostly because Tyrese Halliburton needs a rest. Like, that's going to be a thing that needs to happen here at some point in time. They'll go as long as seeding is relevant. They want to get home court, presumably against my favorite team, the Detroit Pistons. But the minute that thing is figured out, I think you see Halliburton get rest. He might get rest despite all of that, because without Halliburton, they got no chance. They just watched that happen in the playoffs last season. So this is going to be a TJ McConnell opportunity if I've ever seen one. And what's great about TJ is he doesn't care about anything all season, but every now and then they say, all right, it's your ball. You get to go do whatever you want with it. And he starts averaging 25 and 5 with good field goal percentage and like 3 steals or something. And so I can't sit here and tell you that that's definitely going to happen. But if you want to have a little luxury pickup right now, TJ McConnell for the rest of the season would be your guy there. I got other streamers, but I will let you go, sir.
So I'm on Toppin without Mathurin, and I love all the other suggestions, but I think Toppin, who has real spike game potential, is a good look. Again, Filipowski, no Markkanen, no Kessler. Colin Sexton is questionable. He may be shut down. KJ Simpson, if Shed is on another team, Butler's already been picked up. Rollins has already been picked up. You're like, dang. Well, Simpson would be like that next guy. And the numbers in the 2 starts he's gotten for LaMelo haven't been great, but they've been okay. They've been serviceable. So like 14-team leagues and up, heck yeah. In a 12-team league, you can maybe go get Shed or Butler and you don't have to worry about it. But I wanted to bring him up because LaMelo Ball's been ruled out for the year. Also, Mark Williams is out tonight, which could lead to more minutes for Tidjane Salaam, who's been okay at times this year. Bro, I want to go back to Keon Ellis for a minute, man, because Malik Monk has played in the last 2 games, but he has come off the bench. Keon Ellis has started. So I'm really wondering if that's permanent or what Doug Christie is going to do, Brew, with Monk and Ellis. Is Monk a bench player now, and that just is what it is? Or are they working Monk back from this time off in a slow, methodical way, intending to put him back in the starting lineup, and then Keon goes back to the bench and playing 19 minutes? So what is Monk a bench guy right now, or is that not in stone?
It's so great. My internet cut out, and then we come back to Keon Ellis. So this is just awesome for me. So organizationally, they made a choice to put Keon Ellis in the starting lineup 2 games ago. Now, is it a game-to-game possible thing? Like, can they hang a hard left again and bring Monk back in the starting lineup and Keon off the bench? Absolutely. They can look at it that way. And especially because though Phoenix seems like they're just falling off the radar here, and the Kings will kind of just land in the 10 spot no matter what. If they struggle, they could pull the emergency handle on this thing and flip that. But just know, organizationally, the code was sent. Keon is a starter now. Everybody's talking about it. The talking points have been, issued throughout the TV crews and all these different things. It's okay to talk about Keon as a lock for being the guy that should be starting. Like, everybody knew that. Everybody knew that. It took people a long time to get there in Sacramento, but now, like, collectively, there's no conversation other than Keon should be starting. Everybody knows it. The TV people are now on board with it, and that's your sign that the front office, which it's interesting because Wes Wilcox just left. Maybe he was the voice in the room that was trying to bring Malik Monk into the starting lineup. I don't know that for sure, but a lot of people are talking about that. Whatever the case may be, Keon's a starter now and also an integral part of the team in the eyes of management. And he's going to be getting his minutes where they come off the bench or they're in the starting lineup. But as a starter for this squad, especially if they start losing players, looking at somebody like Zach LaVine, it hasn't been working out for him in Sacramento. If he was to be kind of rested at some point so he could get possibly right physically, I don't know if he's just dealing with knee stuff and nobody's talking about it. He has no explosion right now. He can't get a shot off to save his life. One player goes out and Keon now gets that that really good mix of being required to be used on offense, and then you get all the defensive and the 3-point stuff on top of it. It's where that big game came from. He had like 14, 5 and 5 or something like that, but like all the cash counters in the world. So that's how you get Keon to be really super good there. Elsewhere, while we're talking streamers here in Washington, the normal crew, Justin Champagny, Bub Carrington, Vukcevic could have easily been in the must-adds part of this show. We've been talking about him for a couple of weeks, so I feel like we've covered that. If he's still available in your league, absolutely take that look. I'm pretty sure you were talking about Filipowski, Sensabaugh, Keontae George might even be on a waiver wire. Collier might be on a waiver wire. Nurkic had a good game in that in their last one for Charlotte. I'm not gambling on that happening again, but he's worth a look. The Clippers at Magic. I don't know if you were into that game at all. Derek Jones and Bogdan Bogdanovic and Chris Dunn, I think, will have more of a role going down the stretch rather than less of a role as the rest starts to accumulate for the Kawhi Leonards. James Harden probably will have to be ripped off of the floor, but at some point in time, if there's an island in the standings, right now they're 8th, really close to the pack, but if they kind of lose, they will start to form an island where it's guaranteed that they get the 8th seed. You'll start to see some rest games there. And then Bogdanovic has been good lately. He's been close to the top 100. He's producing. He looks solid out there. It looks like he's healthy. He's a kind of a guy that you need to get going for the playoffs. So I could see them wanting to get him more minutes when other guys take rests. Derek Jones has just been balling out there. He has a really unique stat set. So the stuff he's good at, take a look at what he can do for your squad. Boston at Memphis. Drew Holiday had a big spike game the other day. The Sam Hausers and the Luke Cornets of the world could get interesting down the stretch. So if you need what they provide, give them a look. Santi Aldama was in the news for fighting with who was he fighting with in Memphis? It was
Desmond Bain.
And of course, those two are good. And there's all sorts of shakeup going on in Memphis. But Aldama has been hurt and probably somewhat available on the waiver wire, and we know he can be a top 100 guy kind of in his sleep. So give him a look. I got a few others, but I don't want to take all of them. So if you got more, feel free.
So I just want a quick correction here. Mark Williams is off the injury report. He is in tonight, so he is not out. So forget what I said about Tijan Salan, and remember what I said about KJ Simpson. Just one more here for me is Jaylen Brown is questionable, and when Boston, because Brown's played the last 3 games, right? This is a rest game. I don't think Brown's playing tonight, guys. It is Boston at Memphis. And that doesn't matter. Like Joe Mazzulla does not play they suck, we can win without these guys. They've got this rest predetermined, man. So I need to
bring them in the show.
In the middle of selling a house, phone blows up off and on all day long. Where was I, Brew? Please reel me.
You were talking about Boston having their predetermined rest.
So when they put, like, when I see Drew Holiday questionable, I know he's going to miss the game. Tatum, not necessarily. He's a little bit of an outlier with this. But when Porzingis is on the injury report as questionable, it's like the soft launch of he's not going to play that night. That's my experience with it. And Jaylen Brown as well. So I believe that Brown's going to rest tonight. He has been carrying around a little bit of an injury lately. And so that pivots to Sam Hauser as a streamer who's had some really big games. And Sam Hauser's like hitting a heater here as we move towards the playoffs. And then, but like ahead of Hauser would be Al Horford. If Al Horford somehow is out on waivers in your league, and, even if the Yahoo roster percentage is high, teams get in a man game crunch and they have to like drop really good players to pick up a guy for a Sunday to try to win a game, right? And then boom, that leaves you with maybe a guy like Al Horford. So just check your waiver wire if Jaylen Brown is out and see if you can add some Al Horford, because Al Horford is still a goody guy when he plays starters minutes.
Oh, hell yeah. I think this news with Josh Giddey, he says he's going to play. That takes a little bit of the steam off of Dalen Terry. They were going to just need a guard to handle the ball, and he's been a little bit better lately. So I was going to say keep an eye on him, but with Giddey probably playing, I say don't do that anymore. Kaysen Wallace, Lou Dort. Wallace has got to be on rosters. He's been great for the last 2 months, maybe all season even. But in a shallow league. This is a guy that could be given the reins for the last couple of games as guys start to eventually take rest. Oklahoma City just doing it, just doing the thing for fantasy GMs, keeping guys playing and playing hard down the stretch. And I mean, if they take the last week off, it's not going to be the end of the world for fantasy leagues. So they've just pushed, and Shea Gilgeous-Alexander GMs know how good that's been for them. Brooklyn at Dallas is interesting because you got Drew Timme, if I'm saying that right, getting minutes, and he's been somewhat valuable.
It's just Timmy.
Is it just Timmy? Yeah, not
just
Timme. Just Timmy. He's just an interesting basketball player, and you got Keon Johnson and Tyrese Martin out there. They're going to get Dallas getting all of their guys back. They're big underdogs in this game, and I don't think they're concerned with Philadelphia in the tank race. And more about that later in the betting section. But those guys, 3-game week, so a little bit under rostered. I'm sure Zaire Williams just coming off of the stinker, probably due for a good game at some point. In Dallas, maybe Kai Jones hit the waiver wire. You want to just try to get one or two good games out of that. Talked about him a lot already, so don't need to go there. And then Houston at Los Angeles, Rui Hachimura back and worth a look. Jabari Smith, Dylan Brooks. I think in the back-to-back here, these guys are they're gonna be itching to play some basketball with all the lights on.
Drew Timme. Interesting. Brew. He had one of 5 players with a double-double in his NBA debut. That's history. Came back with, I think, 16, 9, and 3. And here's the thing. Cam Johnson's not going to play tonight. But Nick Claxton is, unless they've changed something. But yesterday I saw that Claxton was off the injury report. And here's the thing with Timme and Brooklyn this week. They play tonight, and then I think there's at least 2 days off, I believe 3 days off, and then they've got a couple of games over the weekend. So
that's
Timme,
right,
to me, is a streamer tonight. I'm not holding Timme for, is it 3 days off?
Yeah, I believe it's 3 days off.
So I'm not holding Timme for 3 days.
No.
That's
This is a one-time shot.
Man games, blah, blah, blah. So, but Timme might be a decent little streamer. Here's what I want to see. I want to see Timme in the starting 5. I want to see Timme starting at power forward with Claxton starting at center. And then I may pick up Timme tonight. I may. But I got, if he's coming off the bench tonight and Claxton's back, I'm not going to go there. How are you treating that?
Everything you just said, except now Andre's got me all confused. Is there a different Drew Timme out there? I don't know. But it's 15 and 8. You can't really shake a stick at it. It's only 2 categories, but a couple of assists in there, good field goal percentage. He's got 4 categories in there. And we'll talk about them in a second. I do think they'll play hard in this game because they do have that time off. But I'll leave that at that.
I'll just say this about Drew Timme, okay? He's not a fantasy gold guy. He's not. No. He wasn't at Gonzaga. He hasn't been in these games. He's not an active player. He's skilled, okay? He's a good rebounder, a really good shooter. That's why he's where he is right now. But he is not a shot blocker. He does not have great hands for steals, and he's not a volume 3-point shooter. So you got to know that. He's kind of flawed. I'd rather have a Dembona, and it's not close with the blocks and the steals that he's bringing.
Dembona is going to be one of the better players in fantasy down the stretch. If a Dembona is available in your league, stop what you're doing and go get him. Yep,
he's available in a cash league.
Stop what you're doing. Stop what you're doing. Go hit the add button. Daryl Morey, don't you mess with me.
If Daryl Morey messes with you, then the NBA is going to be messing with Daryl. Not that he cares. All right, Brew. Let's make some money, baby. Yeah. What you got ATS here tonight?
All right. Well, I guess I was talking about the Nets. I think the Nets plus 10 on the road against Dallas. I mean, they're going to be bringing back in at least one player here. That kind of makes things a little bit odd. This is not, the Dallas Mavericks should not be a 10-point favorite against anybody. And Cam Johnson's out, but these guys have been playing with players out all season long. The young guys are going to play this thing like it's a very important game to them. Dallas is going to probably overlook these guys a little bit. They're going to take a couple chances with the reintegration of Gafford that they wouldn't otherwise normally take with the rotation, and they're just going to kind of play a little light. I think Dallas has been foot to pedal to the metal the entire time, trying to stay in this race, and they've done a good job with that. I just think this is a game where this is just too many points to lay for this team that knows that they got all this time off afterwards. They could give everything they've got in this game, empty the clip, and then, I think actually this marks the unofficial end of the season for the Brooklyn Nets. Like, they're going to have all this time off. When you get that much time off, and you got to go back to school for 2 weeks or something, you've already checked out. I think this is their Super Bowl. They're going to go for it. So I'll take Nets plus 10 on the road against Dallas, unless the number got even bigger with Cam Johnson news. But I got two others after that.
It is 9.5.
I take
Brew, you're my boy. I'm on the other side of this, man. I got Dallas minus the points.
That's terrible.
I hate to disagree with you, brother.
It's terrible for one of us.
It's going to be bad for one of us. I like Dallas's thing right now. Not the Luka trade, obviously. I'm just talking about, which I think we said it earlier. They're just all the chips in the middle. Lively's on his way back. Gafford's going to play tonight. Kai Jones has been a nice player. Davis is back. PJ Washington is back. Okay. Dinwiddie's playing well. Why am I blanking on the Najee Marshall's playing really well. They're 4-1 in their last 5 games. This is a home game. The crowd is crazy down there. And I just, to me, 9.5, they got to win by doubles. And I take this. So I'm on Dallas. I'm on Boston, Brew. And this number's gone up a little bit, maybe counterintuitive to some people, right? So this morning when I looked at it, Boston was minus 4.5. Boston now is minus 5.5. Has Jaylen Brown been ruled in, or did we get good shoot-around news about Jaylen Brown? Because I'm anticipating him missing this game. So, if it's status quo with Brown, still questionable, yet money's coming in on Boston to rise the number to 5.5. Regardless, I still like Boston, okay? Ja Morant just came back. They're reinfusing that thing. They've got a brand-new coach. They're 1 game in with that. A loss, by the way. Boston's 31-7 on the road, Brew. Jaylen Brown still questionable. They're 31-7 on the road. I believe I heard on the broadcast on Saturday that they have the best road percentage in Celtics history, this team. So I love Boston's weird at home. They seem to be a cover machine on the road. So I like Boston minus 5.5 tonight.
I don't see any problem with that at all. I don't like betting the Grizzlies right now because they didn't have the dead coach bounce, and who knows with this squad if this is going to be, an extended dead coach bounce, you just don't know with this kind of stuff. I've been around enough Sacramento stuff for the last 15 years to know what it looks like when the organization stinks, and this situation has stink written all over it. We don't know where the stink's coming from. Could be Ja, could be Jaren, it could be coaching, it could be general management, it could be ownership. We just don't know how that thing settles out. I just don't like betting into Memphis right now, and I also don't like betting Boston in general because so much variance in their game depending on how they hit their threes. But in this case, I got no problem with it.
What else you got, man?
I got Sacramento 5.5 against Indy. And I really don't have a lot of confidence in this one, but this is a team that just went into Orlando, got the early matinee game. It's terrible for a lot of teams in Orlando early. That team is so tough defensively, and Sacramento needed to have Malik Monk on the floor more, but he's a little bit not up to speed. They didn't figure that out quick enough. It started to steamroll real quick for them, and then they just got blown out bad. This is a team that needs to get that taste out of their mouth, and they're going to be focused for this next game. Maybe there's a little something with Zach LaVine going on right now. He's just not getting shots. He's not happy. I don't think anybody's there's no nefarious plot in Sacramento going on for this to happen. It's not like Domantas Sabonis is stopped wanting to pass or something. It's not like Malik Monk's even been on the floor lately to command a ton of shots. DeMar DeRozan's chilled out a little bit. he and Levine are great friends, so it's not like those two can't talk it out. I just think that the reality is for Zach LaVine is he can't shake anybody because his knee has to be perfect for him to have that kind of wiggle. He can still do all the things on the floor. He just can't take the ball and command a double team and turn a 2-on-1 into something else. So they're going to get that all figured out. And it's Indiana. It's Domantas Sabonis's old team. It's Tyrese Halliburton on the other side of the coin. This playoff race for them, whether they can get a home game or not, Lord knows that matters to Vivek Ranadive. They're going to come into this thing fired up. Indiana, I think, will be somewhat equally fired up to protect their guy Tyrese, but they've done this game a whole lot. So I don't know if that motivation will be quite as strong. Indiana's been a little high on the hog lately. So I think Zach has a lot of angles here and reasons to play. Indiana might not have as many. So we'll do that. And then I'll end it with Los Angeles -5 with Houston off of the big blowout game and in the Sega Baba. Los Angeles has to get it right. This is a national TV game. Everybody's going to be watching. They've sucked. I bet them the other night. They completely rolled over. It sucked. Eventually, they've got to get good again. And what a better time with Houston having some weary legs. And Houston also been playing a little bit over their head as well. They need to come back to the pack a little bit. So I like Los Angeles -5.
All right, so I have added LAL -4.5. We do our best here and we blanket this thing, but me and Doc complete sentences, dot I's, cross T's. You and I are the same way here. I glossed over LA and Houston, Brew, because unpredictability. I really like Houston. They can go into LA, but I'm big on the back-to-back factor. So somehow it escaped me that they played. They were the last game of the night last night, too. That was the last game to go final, was the Houston-Phoenix game. And so I'm big on betting against teams on the second of a back-to-back against teams with rest. So that situation is here. It's the Lakers at home. They always play better at home. And so I'm on the Lakers -4.5. I've added that to my list. I got Dallas -9.5, Lakers -4.5, Celtics -5.5, and I did not say that to butter you up. That's you actually won me over on the Lakers, and I love that, and I thank you for that. But I'm on
watch
Indiana
them lose tonight. Watch them lose.
But no. But I'm on Indiana tonight, Brew. I'm on.
Oh, you're on Indiana. You're on Indiana.
I'm on Indiana tonight.
I think if the team wanted to get together for Tyrese and put him in a great mood heading into the playoffs, having him have a huge game against the Kings tonight, I think that would be awesome. That's something that's worrying me with my bet on the other side.
That I like fading teams, but it's more of a player thing. Fading players coming off of that huge game, right? Just last week, I had a Jaden Hardy decision. Previous game, he had 20 points in 22 minutes on 5 threes. I'm like, I got a Hardy vibe. And then I'm like a lightning bolt hit me. No, Cam, one of your rules is you fade the guy coming off the pop game. I faded Jaden Hardy that night. He played 9 minutes, had no points, right? You fade guys coming off the pop game. Conversely, you play teams or players coming out of wreckage, right? Indiana lost at OKC on Saturday, 132-111. I like betting on good teams that are I like betting on good teams that are sort of coming out of that, right? And they're back at home. And so they should be really locked in. Sacramento's 1-5 in their last 6 games. So I'm on Indiana here, -5.5. Do you have any props, Brew?
None. No props.
No props. I got 4 props. Let me see if I can talk you into pulling your wallet out and going whoosh, with your debit card here. All right, Filipowski, Brew. Filipowski. No Kessler, no Markkanen, 15.5 points, 9.5 rebounds, over. Blend them, put them together, tease them up if you want. But I'm on Phil. I'm because he's been kind of a 2010 guy when Kessler's been out. So I like Filipowski here, over 15.5 points, over 9.5 rebounds.
Okay, all right. I'm listening. I'm not committing. The wallet's shut. It's not happening right now.
Okay,
Filipowski's my guy.
You turned me on to Filipowski. It's your fault. It is.
I know.
This Filipowski talk.
I have one problem right now. It's that if Miles Bridges plays that game, I don't know that he gets easy shots against that player archetype. But this is one matchup in a game that these guys probably they might not even be matched up at all. Like, who knows with the roster that they're throwing out there in Charlotte? Like, who covers who? Like, they have a conversation at the beginning of every play, like who's got who. It might not be what I just said it was. So I'm listening.
I've got a Malik Monk vibe tonight.
Ooh, okay.
And
all right, let's hear it.
And I would have the same vibe if I were working with Doc right now. But I like really good players, Brew, that are coming out of wreckage. And Malik Monk in his last 2 games, remember his first game back was like 16 points in 17 minutes or whatever. The last game was awful. He had 9 points. It's not a Malik Monk game. I know he's a dog. I know he's competitive. And I know that he's been sitting on that, hating that, and wanting to change that. And it's going to be a spirited game, as you say, with all the reunion factors. And Malik Monk's going to be out there with that strut and that hop and that bounce, I think. And it's 14.5, Brew. So, and who knows, Malik Monk might even start this game. Keon Ellis probably will start. But it would not shock me if they pivoted and went back to Monk in the starting 5. And Monk should get more minutes than the previous 2 games. So I like Malik Monk over 14.5.
So I try not to talk about Keon too much. We talk about him so much. He can shut down Tyrese Halliburton just all by himself, no questions asked. Like, Tyrese will just be on a milk carton if they want to do that. They don't play like that at Indy. There's a lot of up and down the floor. So Tyrese will get his in transition no matter what. But so that's the argument to play Keon more. But I'll just tell you this: Malik Monk's going over that number. You have my wallet, sir. I will, unload the clip on that one, because Monk is that dude. He's completely frustrated right now, and all of the pressure on him he's now the team leader. It's pretty crazy, because Domantas Sabonis is putting out feelers about wanting to be traded and all of this good stuff, that you could have seen coming from a mile away. Monk is like the official leader of this squad. They cannot fall any further. He's going to take it upon himself. And this up and down tempo, that's Malik Monk. It's got Malik Monk written all over it. I wouldn't be shocked if he goes for 30 tonight. 14? Is that really the number?
14.5 for Malik Monk.
Yeah, you got my wallet there.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm all in.
I won over the great Aaron Bruski. I'm excited about that. Come on, Malik Monk. Come on, Malik Monk. Make Daddy look good. And then we got Jason Tatum. And this, I'll say this. This is Jaylen Brown conditional. Don't play this now. If Jaylen Brown is ruled out, go to Jason Tatum at 26.5 points and play the over. If Jaylen Brown is in the game, then I'm out. It's that simple. Jaylen Brown ruled out. Take Jason Tatum over 26.5 points because I think that it's a road game. It's at Memphis. Memphis is trying to, the arena is going to be lit. I know that. It's the champs in town, only time all year in Memphis. Ja Morant, they just whacked their coach. So it's going to be like feisty, spirited, right? And Jason Tatum is a stud. So if Jaylen Brown is out, I like Tatum over 26.5 points.
I do. I feel like that for me, it would be a gamble. I can't do it. I agree with all of your points. I just I'm a Miami Heat backer from the last 5 years, and I've watched Jason Tatum just die on the vine in big games so often that I'm like completely biased against Jason Tatum, and I know this. And I've watched him be spectacular this season. I'm still picking it apart. Like, he can't be the dude. He can't be the guy. So I have this irrational, completely like I'm biased that Jason Tatum isn't as good as he is. So I'm the wrong guy to ask about this bet. But I agreed with everything you said.
I understand. Brew, before we drop the curtain and go backstage with some questions, let's talk about the Sports Ethos app. Tell the people how freaking cool it is, man.
Yeah, it's great because, I don't know what's going on with social media these days. I don't think most of us know. There's just weird crap all over the place, and people got to do whatever they got to do to stay relevant. So it's just like this ecosystem's just weird. And I don't know if anybody even enjoys it anymore. But you know what I do enjoy? I like this app. I hit a button, and then all the news is there. And then all these tools to help my fantasy team are there. And it's all free. It's great. I love it. Go to any app store of your choosing. I believe there's 2. And you can download this thing for free. And we're putting a lot into it. And by the way, on that note, I also want to get as much feedback from you guys as we're making investments into the platform. You've heard me say this a few times. If you have a feature request, if there's anything you'd like to see us do, whether it's in the website space, the app space, or here on social, just drop me a line at Aaron Bruski. Let me know, and I'll get into the workflow right away.
So also want to let you guys know, go to sportsethos.com, get a subscription to our work over there, MLB draft guide. We're about a week into the season. MLB drafts are still going on. We can still help you out with that. And subscribe to our YouTube channels. That'd be great. The Sports Ethos YouTube channel, the Fantasy NBA Today YouTube channel. Give us a subscription on that. Give the video a thumbs up. Even write us a review if you want. That would help us out. So we are out for now, but like I said, we're going to go backstage with some questions for Andre Lemouche, for Aaron Bruski. I'm Rick Kamla. This episode's been brought to you proudly by Bet Online. All right, Brew, we're backstage, man.
Oh, yeah.
Sweat off our brow. And Matt Carmody, one of our homies.
Oh, my
what
goodness.
A show, dude. Dude, your solo in the third song in the first set was incredible. First time I ever heard you play, bro.
Hey, man, you left all your blood on the drums in this show. That's really good. Really good.
Throw me a Miller Lite, right?
Yeah. Is it beer 30 yet? Come on.
It is.
Oh, it's Monday
at
11?
Oh, boy, yeah. It's approaching beer 30 for me, although I got work to do when we're done here. Beer 30 will be tonight. Matt Carmody says, what's up, Ethos crew? Awesome stuff all season. Thank you, Matt. Appreciate that. He said, Bona ad on Saturday won me blocks and reaps to get me into the championship game. I'm telling you right now, dude, Bona, he's like everybody's new favorite player right now, Adem Bona.
I think so. Yeah. It was, sort of cloudy there to pick which one in Philly, but it kind of got easy a couple weeks ago. And I think people who are, jacked into the matrix, they were able to figure that out. And we're all getting that bump, that championship bump. It's good.
So Matt also said, would you rather have FVV or Dinwiddie this week? 9 cat. Dinwiddie's at 4 games and Houston's at 4 games. Oh, man.
Isn't that question just sort of sad on its face? Like
it is.
I'm a realistic question.
It is a very realistic question. I'm an FVV guy, and it seems like with the cavalry coming in for Dallas here, with Gafford coming back tonight, Lively's return is appearing to be around the corner. You got Christie, you got Najee, you got Brandon Williams or Jaden Hardy going to be playing their minutes. It's not like I'm sour on Dinwiddie, but versus Van Vliet, I'm a Freddie V guy.
Also, there's something with Spencer Dinwiddie. I don't know what it is. I think the league just doesn't like the guy or something. I mean, it's unfair to say, but like every ref he never gets a call from a ref ever. He's got players up in his grill constantly just yapping. And so then you bring in Houston into this mix. Are they playing each other though? That's a thing that just like
Houston tonight at the Lakers.
Playing each other. Yeah, they're not playing each other. Maybe this week at some point in time. Any point, I digress. Van Vliet has not been that bad lately. And in your points about Dallas bringing in additional players, and now the ball's got to go different ways, and it's not Spencer Dinwiddie's show. He doesn't need to be relied upon. I think he's behind the pecking order, behind Najee Marshall even. So I would go Fred Van Vliet here.
All right,
even
Matt,
with some risk for some time off, yeah.
Matt, good luck with that. Rand Simon says, congrats to Brew on his main event teams. Let's go. Buried early due to injuries and underperformance, but surging like crazy lately. Do you play against Rand?
I got to check and see if Rand's in our leagues there. If he is, he's got it read completely correctly there. Like early on, you do all this work, and then like in the third week, you're like, man, all my teams suck. It's like it's this gut punch, but then you have to stay confident that what you looked at, what you did, all the work you did, all the analysis, that it was actually correct. And you got to not panic and holding it together. It's just been this constant rise throughout the season. In the last like 3-4 weeks, it's just been boom through the roof. So yeah, we're good. We're good. Thank you,
Rand. Appreciate that. Keese Bryant says, thank you guys for guiding me to the championship game. Keese, we got you, man.
Got you. I love hearing about this. Very well. I love this stuff. Powers me like you guys don't even know.
Matt Carmody says, I'd probably go Bona over Gafford. That seems to be the prevailing opinion here, right? With me, you, Andre, and Matt.
Yeah, I mean, it's fun to think of what if with Gafford, because he literally was a top 12 player there for about a month. It was great. It was just, and that was powering the teams. And then when he went down, I was like, oh, maybe this rise isn't going to happen. But yeah, no, Bono over Gafford.
All right, Matt, good luck with that. Again, we don't think Gafford is scheduled to play 4 games this week, but we don't think he's going to play in all 4. Beasley 10 says drop Herder for Neesmith. Is Indiana a 4 banger this week? They are. Yeah, I got to make that move. Because I'm getting at most 3 out of Herder, so I'm doing that move.
Yeah, Herder, it's fun when things are going well, but I really think there's a knee issue there that's unfortunate because it's going to kind of derail his career. But when he's rested and he's good and things are right, he can be great. It's just he's going to take a couple games off the rest of the way. And how do you plan for that?
He said 9-cat, 12-team head-to-head. Yeah, my answer is the same, even knowing all of those things. Rand Simon, I have 3 teams in the OC. May try main event next season.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun. It's a big investment, but it's fun. And yeah, we'll help you.
I hope you win, Brew. I hope you win. I'm pulling for you. Beasley 10 says championship week. Thank you, Brew, Doc, Rick, Doc, Andre, and the Sports Ethos crew. We got you, man.
And you really said it with that last sentence there. I want to take a second here and shout out the Sports Ethos crew. Like this crew, it's like watching the Thunder, like when they do their post-game interviews. Like, the whole team's just like in it for each other. There's just like no egos at all. Everybody's doing the work. Us old folks, we remember the grind when we were just getting started, and like you got to do all these, mental push-ups, and you got to put out content, and you got to actually climb the ladder. Nothing's handed to you. These guys approach the work like that. There's no entitleistic things, and they're so smart with the fantasy takes that they bring to the table. And I'm just sitting there like, taking notes and just happy. It's like, I'm getting these angles I wouldn't have otherwise had because of the hard work that they're doing on the front lines with blurb work, things like that. These layup line articles are outstanding. Keston Paul, Mike Passador, Mark Camaro, John Mosales, Paul and Anthony, who are working with you in baseball as well. I mean, this crew is deep. There's even more that I haven't even mentioned. It's just a great thing to be a part of a team that's got that level of commitment to doing things the right way. And I think it shows up in the results.
So subscribe to our work at sportsethos.com. Download the app. It's completely free at your favorite app store. And subscribe to our YouTube channel, Sports Ethos, and the Fantasy NBA today, Fantasy MLB today, Fantasy NFL today, Fantasy WNBA today. Subscribe to all of those YouTube channels. We would greatly appreciate it. All right. The next time you see me will be tomorrow at 10 a.m. with Doc. We'll be recapping Monday, and I will be talking about the Daniel Gafford, Kai Jones, possibly Derek Lively of it all. Brew will be back later on this week with Doc, unless there's a show in the interim there. But your next show is Friday with Doc, right?
I believe so. So see you guys in a couple of days, 3 whole days. I'll miss you.
But he will be winning roto leagues and closing in on championships in that pot full of gold.
Ooh, and hopefully a Bickerstaff bet as well. A Bickerstaff bet.
I hope you win that thing. For Dre, for Brew, I'm Cam. We will see you very, very soon. This has been the Fantasy NBA Today, brought to you by Bet Online.
Go Pistons!